June 18, 1944. Saipan. 4:12 a.m. A faint gray light hangs over the broken ridgeline as the Marines crawl toward a jagged hillside that breathes smoke like a wounded animal. The ground is still warm beneath them, not from the rising sun, but from the bodies and shell craters that littered the terrain hours earlier. Sergeant Richard Red Morrison presses his back against a volcanic boulder, his breathing shallow, his fingers shaking as he checks the M2 flamethrower on his back. The tank feels impossibly heavy, like a second spine made of metal and gasoline. A single shot cracks from somewhere inside the hillside, a cave mouth barely big enough for a man to crawl into. Then another. Then a third. The Japanese defenders aren't out there. They're under there, buried in darkness, tunnels, shafts, chambers carved into living rock. Red angles his head toward the darkness. He can't see anything, but he can hear it. Footsteps. A breath. A whisper. The sound of someone waiting to kill him. A young private beside him, Carter, 19, freckles, shaking like a leaf in typhoon wind, leans in. "Sergeant, they're right under us." Red nods once. He knows. They all know. The caves are a fortress. A world within a world. And every inch of it is designed for ambush. A flare pops far overhead, turning the rocks into twisted bones of shadow and silver light. For just a heartbeat, Red can see the entrance clearly, a slit in the hillside, almost invisible. Smoke curls from inside, drifting upward like a silent warning. But this time, the Marines carry something the island defenders have never faced with this intensity. Something that turns darkness into terror. Something that burns hotter than fear itself. Red grips the M2's wand, thumb resting on the trigger. He can feel the pressure building inside the twin tanks. He can feel the slight vibration of fuel sloshing as he exhales. "You ready?" he whispers. Carter doesn't answer. He just nods, wide-eyed. From inside the cave comes a sound, not a shot, not a shout. A metallic clink, like someone loading a grenade. Every Marine on the line freezes. Time slows. Even the rising wind seems to hold its breath. Red's heartbeat thunders in his ears. The caves have taken dozens of men already. The tunnels twist for miles. Every corner is a blind guess. Every shadow could be the last thing you ever see. But not today. Red rises from cover. Slow. Controlled. Flamethrower aimed at the crack in the earth. The others watch him, the man who carries fire on his back. Inside the cave, something shifts. A silhouette. Movement. The slightest flicker of motion in the dark. Red inhales once. And steps forward. The moment hangs like a held breath, quiet, fragile, ready to snap. Because what happens next will change everything. For the defenders below. And for the Marines standing above them. Red's boots scrape against volcanic gravel as he approaches the cave's jagged mouth. The smell of smoke and wet earth hits him first, then the faint, metallic tang of blood. The night is alive with silence, broken only by distant artillery thumps and the faint moan of the wind over the ridge. He kneels at the edge, adjusting the M2's nozzle. The flamethrower hisses faintly, a whispered promise of destruction. He can almost feel the heat already, the invisible fingers of fire creeping through the air. Inside the cave, the Japanese defenders shuffle in shadows, unaware that the world outside has changed. What they thought was an impenetrable stronghold, tunnels carved over months, fortified positions, deadly traps, is about to meet a new element. Fire. Pure, consuming, relentless. Red exhales slowly, eyes scanning for any sign of movement. He knows that in those tunnels, every corner could hide a rifle, a grenade, a man ready to die defending the dark. "On my mark," he whispers to Carter. Carter's hands are trembling, but he's gripping his rifle tightly. Red presses the trigger. The first jet of flame erupts like a beast freed. Orange tongues lick the cavern mouth, curling and writhing. Smoke pours out like a river of black silk. The defenders scream, short, sharp, panicked cries that echo off the stone walls, bouncing endlessly through the tunnels. The caves that once felt like eternity of darkness now feel alive, as if the very earth itself is screaming. Heat lashes at the Marines' faces, sweat pouring down their necks. They step back, letting the fire flow, letting it do what they cannot. Some defenders rush to the back, trying to seal themselves deeper in the tunnels. Others make the fatal mistake of running upward toward the mouth, only to be consumed instantly by the roaring flames. The inferno is merciless, indiscriminate. Shadows vanish. Walls glow. Screams turn into silence. Red keeps pushing the trigger, moving forward slowly, systematically. Each burst of fire is a wave, a hammer on the fortress of stone. He can see glimpses of their faces through smoke, terrified, realizing the night has betrayed them. He hears Carter gasp behind him. "Sergeant, they're gone, it's too much." Red doesn't answer. He knows too well. This isn't just battle. It's a transformation. The caves, once a symbol of Japanese resolve, are collapsing into chaos, turning into an inferno that no man could survive. And yet, beneath the roar, a faint sound persists. Something unexpected. A muffled, deliberate tapping. A rhythm. Red freezes. The flames dance, casting long shadows on the rocks. Somewhere deep in the tunnels, someone is still moving. The fire crackles and roars, but deep within the tunnels, a shadow moves with unnerving precision. It's Lieutenant Takahashi, one of the few Japanese officers still orchestrating a defense from the bowels of Saipan. Every flash of light from the flames outside reflects off his steel helmet, but his eyes remain sharp, calculating. He whispers into a handheld radio, voice low and urgent. "Hold positions. Wait for the smoke. They think fire will destroy us, but they don't know these tunnels." Red crouches near the mouth, sweat stinging his eyes, throat dry from heat and smoke. The flamethrower hisses again, an almost animalistic growl, and he forces himself forward, inch by inch. But then, a soft tap, tap, tap echoes back from within the cave. A single, deliberate rhythm. "What the hell?" Carter mutters, peering into the smoke. Red's jaw tightens. This isn't panic. This is control. Someone is still alive, still organized. The illusion of destruction is cracking. The Japanese had carved small niches, false passages, even escape shafts unknown to the Marines. Smoke hides them, but it also betrays them. Every move, every breath, every beat of the flame reveals more of the fortress. Red pauses. He can almost feel the intelligence behind the tapping. The defenders are not just hiding, they're planning, coordinating, waiting for the perfect moment to strike back. And then it hits him, this isn't just a fight for territory. This is psychological warfare. Every step, every flame, every roar is meant to terrorize, but the enemy's patience could turn the tables in seconds. He scans the tunnel entrance again. A faint shadow darts across the cavern wall, too quick, almost a trick of the eye. But Red knows better. His gut tells him the defenders aren't defeated yet. Not fully. A sudden explosion from deeper inside the tunnel shakes the hillside. Dust and rock tumble down. Carter stumbles, coughing, eyes wide. "Sergeant, they're fighting back." Red grips the flamethrower tighter, heart pounding. The inferno outside was supposed to be the end. But this hidden resistance is something else entirely, clever, deadly, and patient. And now, for the first time, Red realizes, the battle is far from over. The fire can burn. It can destroy. But it may not be enough. The explosion reverberates through the tunnels like a warning bell. Red can feel the vibrations under his boots, the ground shivering as if the earth itself is alive and angry. Smoke curls around him, thick and choking, turning the night into a molten haze of orange and gray. "Move forward," Red snaps, voice hoarse but firm. He presses Carter close, leading him toward the next cave mouth. The others follow, flamethrowers at the ready, rifles poised for any shadow. Inside, the tunnels twist and turn, narrow shafts opening into jagged chambers. Every corner could hide a rifle, a satchel charge, a sniper. Every step is a gamble between life and death. The Marines are in a maze designed to confuse and kill. Red lifts the M2 again. The hiss of fuel fills the air, almost comforting against the unseen threats. The flamethrower illuminates a small chamber, a wall of rocks carved with meticulous precision, wooden supports, hidden alcoves. Evidence of weeks, maybe months, of preparation. And then he sees it, a figure darting behind a wall, not running aimlessly, but purposeful. Lieutenant Takahashi is moving like a shadow, a conductor orchestrating chaos. Red curses under his breath. This is no ordinary enemy. This is discipline, cunning, and desperation all wrapped into one. The Marines begin to split, clearing each chamber, sweeping the flames in arcs. Smoke thickens. Heat intensifies. You can almost taste the iron tang in the air, feel it burning your lungs. Suddenly, a detonation. A trap, rocks tumble, smoke surges, and a temporary wall of flame erupts from a hidden nozzle. Carter stumbles, barely catching himself. Red's heart pounds. Each breath is a fight. "Keep pushing." Red yells. "Push. Don't stop." They advance, inch by inch, through tunnels that seem endless. The flames lick at the darkness, revealing hidden compartments, small stashes of ammo, even crude maps scrawled on walls. Every discovery hints at the enemy's patience, a mental chess game where each move could kill a Marine. Red pauses in a chamber just wide enough for him to stand. His boots are slick with mud and sweat. Through the smoke, he glimpses movement, shadows splitting, small figures coordinating silently. And then comes the realization, the fire is no longer just a weapon. It is a signal. Every burst illuminates the enemy's positions, every roar disorients them, but it also feeds the labyrinth's tension. The Marines are trapped in the labyrinth with the fire, hunters and hunted simultaneously. And somewhere deeper, Lieutenant Takahashi smiles, knowing the inferno has only begun to serve his plan. A muffled shout echoes from a tunnel above. Then silence. Red exhales, heart racing. Something, someone, is still waiting for the perfect strike. The heat is unbearable. Every step Red takes sends sweat streaming down his face, soaking the collar of his uniform. The flamethrower hisses, spitting fire that paints the walls in grotesque orange shadows. The smell of scorched earth and human sweat hangs thick, almost suffocating. Carter is at his side, trembling but determined. "Sergeant. I think we're running out of fuel." Red doesn't answer immediately. He knows the flamethrower is more than a weapon, it's a psychological hammer. Each burst forces the enemy out of hiding, makes the darkness visible, turns fear into chaos. But even the most terrifying weapon can't guarantee victory when the enemy is still breathing, still thinking, still waiting. Ahead, the main chamber opens, a cavern large enough to feel like a small cathedral of stone. And there they are, Japanese defenders, regrouping, attempting to mount a counterattack. Their eyes catch the firelight, glinting like obsidian. They are disciplined, trained, deadly. Red lifts the M2, his arms burning under the weight, and squeezes the trigger. Fire erupts, cascading like molten rivers across the rocky floor. The defenders scatter, their shouts echoing like a chorus of panic and fury. And then it happens. Something unexpected. From a hidden shaft, a volley of rifle fire cracks against the walls. Sparks fly where bullets strike rock. Marines duck, adrenaline surging, hearts racing. Carter yelps, rolling behind a boulder as a bullet grazes the edge of his helmet. Red freezes for a split second, scanning for the source. The labyrinth has given the enemy a deadly advantage, firing from angles no Marine could anticipate. Every movement is perilous. Every choice could be fatal. But Red sees it, the pattern. The shadows, the angles, the rhythm of their firing. It's Takahashi. He's orchestrating the defense from the bowels of the cave, manipulating the inferno, the smoke, the chaos like a maestro conducting a symphony of destruction. Red grits his teeth. They've underestimated him. Every burst of fire had been driving them into a trap, shaping the battlefield inside the tunnels. And yet, he sees the opening. A narrow passage to the left, unguarded. It could be the key. Carter, flank left. Now. Red commands, voice slicing through the smoke. The Marines shift, moving carefully, each step weighted with the knowledge that one mistake could mean death. But the passage beckons, a promise of control, of turning the tide. And as they inch forward, Red realizes something chilling: the battle isn't just for the caves. It's for every mind inside them. And the enemy knows it. The flame is no longer just fire. It's a weapon of insight, of fear, of revelation. And the next move will decide who truly controls the inferno. The narrow passage squeezes the squad into a single file line, every boot step echoing like a heartbeat through the stone ribs of the cave. The deeper they push, the quieter the war becomes. No rifle cracks. No shouts. Only the distant drip of water and the fading hiss of cooling fire behind them. Red feels it in his chest, the shift. The enemy has stopped pushing. They're waiting. At the end of the corridor, a dim glow flickers, the kind of light produced not by fire, but by a lantern. The kind the Japanese officers used in underground command posts. Red lifts a fist, halting the squad. Carter freezes behind him. They hear breathing. Slow. Controlled. Closer than expected. Red steps into the chamber, M2 raised, and there he is. Lieutenant Hiroshi Takahashi. Uniform singed. Rifle empty. A small pistol resting on his knee. He is sitting upright against the far wall, calm as a stone statue awaiting judgment. For a second, no one moves. The cavern crackles with tension. Takahashi speaks first, his English eerily steady. You have already won. The fire told me. Red tightens his grip. He's ready for anything, a trick, a charge, a grenade hidden under debris. But the lieutenant only lifts his chin, meeting Red's eyes with the unbroken resolve of a soldier who has already accepted the end. You fought with relentless spirit, Takahashi says, each word forced but sincere. Your fire shook the mountain. Carter shifts uneasily. Sarge, what do we do? Red studies the man in front of him, an enemy, yes, but also a commander who held his ground to the last breath, who fought from shadows, who turned tunnels into traps and darkness into a weapon. A soldier, all the same. Red finally lowers the flamethrower. It's not mercy. It's recognition. He turns to the squad. Secure him. We're done here. As they move to take Takahashi prisoner, a low rumble vibrates through the chamber. Dust rains down like gray snow. Somewhere far above, the earth groans. The fires they set in the early chambers have begun to eat deeper into the cave system. The inferno is collapsing the labyrinth. Move! Red shouts. They rush back through the tunnels, stumbling over rocks and coughing through smoke. Flames dance along the ceiling like living serpents. The cave behind them buckles, stone splitting open in a roar that drowns every other sound. Carter nearly falls, but Red grips his arm, dragging him forward. They burst from the cave mouth just as the ground shudders one final time, and the entrance collapses in a thunder of stone and fire. The Marines collapse onto the sand outside, gasping, eyes stinging, uniforms scorched. Above them, dawn breaks, soft, golden, absurdly peaceful. Carter lets out a shaking laugh. Sarge, we made it. Red doesn't answer. He's watching the smoke rise from the sealed cave, the final breaths of a battlefield that swallowed so many. Yeah, he finally says, voice low. We did. Behind the smoke, the mountain is silent. The labyrinth is gone. And the fire, once a weapon of destruction, has become the final witness to the end of the fight. If this story moved you, then make sure to support the channel. Hit like, subscribe for more untold World War II history, and share this video with someone who loves real battlefield stories. Your support keeps these forgotten moments alive, and helps us bring you the next chapter of history.